Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Lisa and this is growing on Vancouver Island. It's just starting to rain this morning and I'm going to take you on a tour of our backyard garden. It is late May, I think it might be the 25th or 26th today, and we'll just see what's going on. Start the tour in this corner here. This is my 5 variety cherry tree, which is fully leafed out, and you can probably see, if I can zoom in, just starting to form its green cherries. And underneath the cherry tree here we have a bunch of daffodil foliage and a whole bunch of daylilies that are starting to come out. It's kind of a combination of both in here. Over here, these plants are all raspberries, and I never planted any of these plants. These all came from our neighbor's raspberry bush that is right on the other side of our fence. And up on our slope here, this is a project that my partner has been working on. We have this horrible bush that you can see here, and he is trying to get rid of it. This is a project I never thought would be possible. I've never liked this bush since we bought our house, but it was so well established, as you can see over here. This is actually not what it looked like last fall. We had a landscaper come and remove a ton of it. But I never thought we could get rid of this bush without a bulldozer, but he's trying to prove me wrong. So hopefully he's right, because we have great plans for this area if he's able to remove it all, which I think he is going to be able to. So I'm super excited about that. So coming this way, we have a zipper waking up for the day. And here is my 5 variety plum tree. It's looking pretty good, actually. It had thousands of flowers this spring and it's all leafed out now. And in this corner here, we have my mess of a patio that I need to clean up pretty soon. And these are my bush varieties of rock roses. I've got a few different varieties of rock roses in my yard, and it's just starting to bloom, one of them. That is so exciting. This is a fully open flower, and this is what the buds look like. They're so gorgeous. I love the 2 color tones in the flower buds. Behind it, we have another rock rose. This one is pink, but it doesn't have any blooms yet. Although, look at this blossom that's formed. I don't know if you can see that. It looks red and yellow to me, which is so weird, because this was definitely a pink bloom before. So I will keep you updated as to what this turns into. And behind it, we have a hardy hibiscus. This hibiscus gets white flowers, and I believe it has sort of a fuchsia colored middle, if I remember right. Just starting to leaf out in our climate, which is zone 7 to 8. Hibiscus is typically one of the last plants that will leaf out here. It's just slow to get started. And here we have some emerald cedars, which provide a nice little privacy hedge for our patio area. And coming this way, we've got our boxwoods, and we've got a whole collection of plants, but my favorite, of course, are the roses, which are not blooming yet, but they've got lots of buds that have formed, so I cannot wait to show everyone all of the roses I have. I have quite a few roses in my yard, and they are definitely the favorite thing that the roses are definitely my favorite part of this yard. I like everything, but roses are just so special to me. So we've got lots of different varieties of roses in here. And I'll show you my nectarine tree that I planted. It was one of my first videos on this channel, maybe the 3rd or 4th video. And it has not leafed out yet. it's kind of slow to get going. I'm going to go from top to bottom. This is what the top is looking like. Not looking great, but it's not dead. These are very bendable branches, and I'm going to go slowly to the bottom of the tree. And I'm going to zoom in right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I believe there is going to be fresh growth on here. It's hard to pick up, but I think it's going to come from the bottom up. But I don't think the tree is dead by any means. I think it's forming its roots, and it's been so cold here that it's just taking a long time to get going. But stay tuned for more updates on this nectarine tree. I think it's going to surprise us. So we've got Dusty Miller and Alyssum on the border of this rose bed, and there's Liatris. We've got Oriental Poppies in here, and there's one of the Oriental Poppies, and another one over here has formed its blooms. I'm not sure what's going on with the foliage, why it's getting all yellow, but it's gonna bloom anyways. And my peach tree that has peach leaf curl. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be okay. I treated it with some good plant food and amendments in a recent video, and I think it's going to be just fine. It's just going to take a while to recover from its disease. A few Ranunculus are still blooming with the English daisies. They're past their prime, but there's still some color there. And then down here we have leopard's bane and some stargazer lilies. The leopard's bane is also starting to go a little bit past its prime, but it's still a nice pop of bright color in this corner. This is our side yard. This is one of our Desert King fig trees. You can see those little tiny round circles are all the little figlets that are forming, and they're forming near the top of the tree. Doesn't please me very much because I don't like climbing ladders. So this tree is very likely going to have a hard pruning later in this season, because when the figs are done, or going into next season, I don't want to climb ladders to pick figs. So that's the end of the story. Coming this way, this is my rose called Snow Pavement. When I bought this rose, it was advertised as being a white rose with a yellow center. Well, I don't know if that was false advertising or if it's actually a different rose, or if it's something to do with my soil, but this rose is pink. It's sort of a pastel pink with a yellow center. But that being said, many roses I've planted in this yard that were supposed to be red or white have turned out to be pink. So I have a feeling it might be something to do with our super acidic soil. But who knows? It could be mislabeling or any other sort of thing that could happen with roses. We've got lots of little buds on here. And unfortunately, this rose has a few aphids. I did squish some, and I should probably power wash some. Oh, it's got more than a few. I'm gonna have to put that on my garden chore list of things I need to do. I usually just pressure wash the aphids off, and I have pretty good luck with controlling them that way because I never get huge infestations, just sort of minor ones here and there. These are chives just starting to bloom beside my rose. And here is my superstar Desert King fig tree. It has a lot of figs on it. They started just at the top, but now look down here. This is a pretty low branch compared to the rest, and it's starting to form figs all the way down this branch, which is super duper exciting. So I won't have to climb ladders for the lower ones. Actually, I can almost reached the top of the tree. Maybe not over here, but it's not too tall. This rose here, this rose is called Nicole, and she also has blooms that are forming, and I see some aphids I need to take care of. But lots of beautiful lush foliage going on. And we've got some gladioli popping up between the roses and autumn joy sedum. This rose here, this is my single pink knockout rose, which was sold to me as a red knockout rose when I literally knew nothing about roses at the time. And it is definitely a hot pink, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Even though I prefer red roses, I have fallen in love with this rose. So I don't mind the pink anymore, but it is a superstar in this garden, and I cannot wait to show you when it's blooming. Here is autumn joy sedum looking absolutely fine. And this beautiful bush is a burning bush. In the fall, this whole bush, like right now, it's kind of a vibrant green, will go to like a very vibrant red color. It's absolutely stunning in the fall. And here is a rescued fig tree from my parents' yard that was just planted, I feel like it was this past winter, maybe even early spring. And it has one tiny little fig growing on it, which is so cute. I don't know if you can see it. It's right here. So that is very exciting. And here is my double knockout rose, which is also doing very well, and it's also pink. And here we have one of my rock roses. It's actually early morning right now, and it looks like it's going to rain. So all of the blooms, or most of the blooms, are very tightly closed, I guess you could say. They're very tightly closed, but they have been open completely, and I probably should have filmed when they were open, but it's early morning and I don't think the sun is going to come out today, so I decided to film while things were closed, but that's okay. You can still get a feeling for how much color this beautiful ground cover produces. And it crowds out the other plants as well as weeds. Here is a sedum that is totally crowded out. And if I lift this guy up, well, can I lift him a little bit? You can see I do have weeds, but you pretty much don't notice them, and they probably won't even bloom, the weeds, because they're so crowded out by the ground cover. And here is a blueberry bush. It's partially finished blooming already, but it still has a few blooms left on it. More autumn joy sedums. Some boxwoods on your left. This is sort of the other view of the bank. The bush in the middle is a 9-bark. Swing around this way. That we are likely going to keep, even if we get rid of all of this ground cover stuff that we really don't like. It's called Cotton Easter, and I don't recommend this bush unless you have an acreage or a very large slope you want to stabilize. Like even this slope here, sure, you can stabilize it, but this bush will need so much pruning if you want to keep it looking good. It's not worth it. Get something else. We never planted this. It was here when we bought our house 8 years ago, so definitely not something I would have ever picked, and I'm so glad we're trying to get rid of it now. So the 9-bark is going to stay, and the boxwoods outlining our slope all the way to the top, they're going to stay. The boulders are going to stay, but all of the bush in the middle is going to go. So let's go back up our little pathway here. These, I think I said it already, but these are creeping phlox. We've got a pale purpley blue one and a white and pink centered colored one here, as well as this poor thing has been traumatized by the garden hose. This is, I think it's called candy stripe or something like that. It's sort of pink with white stripes. Oh, the coloring is, there we go, pink with white stripes, this creeping phlox we've got here. And up here is I want to say this is a drift rose. I can't remember for sure. I believe it's pinkish red, maybe red or cherry red flowers if I remember right, which are more true to color than some of my other roses have been. And I bought this last year at Lowe's, I believe, and it's actually really filled out. It's got some nice growth on there, and I think the buds are just starting to form. It's hard to tell, but I think it's just starting. Coming up this way, the ground cover you see that is just like a very nice carpet of green. That is called creeping phlox. No, that is creeping thyme. And I have quite a few, 2 or 3 or 4 varieties of it. I think I have 3. I started with more, but then some of them died and the other ones took over. So we've got heather, autumn joy sedum, a lovely Japanese maple here, and a different sedum, a dark colored one. I don't remember the name of this. I planted it last year, but it looks pretty nice. And here, these roses, this rose was a cutting just late last fall or winter, I want to say, from my parents' garden, and look at it. It's like a full-on rose bush. This thing is amazing. And I'm going to show you. It's got bloom buds already, like holy smokes. I think it's got at least 5 on here. And there's more down here. I just cannot wait to see this bloom. I have a whole bunch of cuttings I got from them this past fall, winter, even early spring, some of them, different batches, and they are just growing like weeds. Like they're growing so well in this yard. This is a cutting I took myself about 3 years ago. This is from my white Mayland rose, and it has grown, but I did cut it back. But considering it's 3 years old, it's still pretty small, but it is gonna bloom. This is one little bud. There's another one and another one. So at the bottom of my slope, that's lemon thyme. And I believe, I want to say this is just red or pink creeping thyme. There might be another name for it. I can't really remember actually. But the yellow is so pretty. And I believe the yellow is actually a lemon creeping thyme. Like you can definitely smell the lemon if you were to either walk on it quite a bit or break it off. You can definitely smell the aroma of the creeping thyme. So these trees are called emerald cedars, and they border our whole back fence. These vibrant purpley pink bushes, these are called barberries. They're absolutely stunning, their colors that they get. These will go even more vibrant pink as the season progresses. And they always have that dark colored foliage. That's the old growth, and the new growth is hot pink. But if you have an area you want to protect from people or animals that you don't want in your yard, this is a great bush because you can see it. These thorns are very nasty. I almost want to say they're more nasty than your nastiest rose thorn. Like, don't get too close to this bush unless you're wearing adequate glove protection. But it is very beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. I didn't plant this, but it is very nice. Here is a blueberry bush that still has quite a few flowers on it. And on the corner of my vegetable garden, we have a columbine. This columbine is actually past its prime. I should have showed you a little earlier in the season, but it is pretty nice. It's got some nice purpley pink flowers. The flowers kind of come out more on the purple side, and they sort of, as they age, they become more pink colored. I'll see if I can zoom in a little bit on these flowers. They're quite pretty. And this is just our vegetable garden. All these big hills are soil from over here that my partner has been transporting because there's nowhere else to put it really until his project is finished. So I'm sort of working around it with my planting in the vegetable garden. But I will do a vegetable garden update pretty soon. And here is one of the apple trees. Pretty much finished its blooming. It has a few blooms left, but it's mostly done for the season. And here's another little overview of our gravel pathway. So that's going to be all for today. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one. Have a lovely day.